Hey everybody, Todd Michael Putnam from Creative Adventure Tables, and today I am bringing you my Halloween adventure table idea. So my characters, we're starting a new campaign, and in Shadow Dark you start at level 0. We run a gauntlet, and basically they roll up 4 level 0 characters. They don't have any magic, they don't have any weapons or armor or anything, and they basically just try and survive it, and there's a whole lot of death. That usually goes on. It's basically a meat grinder. But since this is going to be run so close to Halloween, just a few days before, I decided to make it a Halloween themed event by having them exploring a haunted castle. And so I'm just going to go through some of the adventures from the encounters from the beginning here. So this is the entrance to it. Technically, that's the entrance to the castle right there, and then the players will start moving their characters through here. The reason I put that back there was simply they could have the castle feel, but I didn't want it in the way of the players being able to see the board because it would stick kind of far up here. So, but anyways, so this is the entranceway. The symbol of the Dark Lord who once ruled this castle over 100 years ago was a red and black snakes intertwined with one another. So there's going to be some snake themes going on. Off to the right, this door over here has been blocked or collapsed in by something. Don't know why. So the players are forced to go to the left, and they go into this room over here. And there's a double door here that they can get through, but then right behind it, there's also more collapsed stuff, and they can't go any further. And this room is where the first real encounters start. So there's a grandfather clock. There's a whole bunch of trash and stuff here. There's a grandfather clock there that it's got some dried blood on it. If they go to inspect it, it is actually a mimic that will chomp on them and chew down somebody pretty quickly. Other than that, there's a black cat that will jump out in front of them, and they all need to make charisma check saves. And if they fail them, then they get a spot of bad luck, and their next check that they make is going to be at disadvantage. Just trying to incorporate the Halloween elements and stuff in there. So when they get into this room over here, you're going to see there's a bunch of torch lights and stuff going on. Now this castle's been empty for 100 years, so, or I shouldn't say empty, but haunted or whatever for 100 years. So these torches certainly should not be going, but they are. And then you're going to see a dinner party basically of a whole bunch of dead people that are not active. They're not skeletons that are moving around. They're just bent over. Their plates and whatnot, but they're not moving. However, the torches themselves are casting shadows against all the walls of the skeletons as if they are moving, as if they're having dinner and drinking from their goblets and eating from the plates. And if the players don't make a wisdom check, then they fall under the spell and they sit down at the table and they slowly become one of the skeletons themselves in 1 to 3 rounds. And then after that, they actually pop up as an undead skeleton. They attack their own party members. So the trick, you can't put out the torches themselves because the torches are magical, so they don't really have a way to put them out. But what they can do is if they take these benches or the tables or anything here and they throw them up in front of it, basically to block out the torch won't be casting any shadows, and so that breaks the enchantment. So there's basically like a little enchantment thing going on. Just cover up the torches somehow, and that stops the shadows from magically enchanting the players. So that's the trick for that one. In this room over here is where the kitchen is, and there's a dead body there. And then in the corner, there's a ghost who's cowering in fear, and there's some rats there rolling around too. If the players defeat the rats, then the ghost stops being afraid, and he actually starts to follow the players around. We'll find out why in just a little bit. Then there's also some wood things that they can use for torches for themselves. For if they don't have enough torches. In Shadow Dark, nobody has the ability to see in the darkness. So then we bring it over to this side here. There's going to be a dead body lying there. These pieces won't be here. The swinging sides won't be just sitting there. If the players will see somebody who's been cut in half. If they don't check the wall or anything like that, and they just try and walk on through, then they have to make a dex check. Otherwise, they get sliced by those guys. But they could just find, otherwise, if they do a search, they're going to find an oddly colored stone in the wall. They can press it, which deactivates it, and they can go across. And then they come to this room here, which I call the Howling Pit of Hell, basically. And it's a supernatural room where the floor has broken away completely. And it's basically this writhing mass of teeth and tentacles and eyeballs and other kind of stuff. and the players basically have to make jump checks across to go from, to this one, to this floating rock over here, to this one. And they might find some weapons. They have to battle this here vine that comes to life. And if they battle it and defeat it, then it basically crumbles into becoming a flail that somebody can use, so it does more damage and whatnot. And they can hop along, and eventually there's a chance they can hop over onto this one, or they can hop into a hallway on the side, which bypasses from this room here and gets in to this area where there is a witch cauldron. And if they decide to go and drink from it, if they fail a poison check, then they receive some poison damage. Otherwise, they get beneficial stuff like a +1 to their natural armor class, or they get temporary hit points or things like that. So kind of the trick-or-treat thing going on with that. In this other room, there's another ghost that's over here, and there's an undead skeleton. And there's some kind of magical grimoire there. If they defeat the undead skeleton who tries casting magic missile and stuff on them, then the ghost will also begin following them around, just like the chef ghost from the other room. It doesn't communicate with the players, just kind of follows them around. Meanwhile, in that grimoire, there's actually a level 1 magic missile spell, and if the players learn it, then they can use that throughout the session until they fail to cast it. Shadow Dark is a roll to cast system. If they fail to learn it, then something funky happens, like they think that they've learned it and they're going to keep trying to cast it in combat until they actually do fail. And they're just totally convinced that they're spellcasters. Then there's no else place for them to go, so it brings them back to here, and they come across this room here again, the Hell Pit room. And I got sound effects for these things too. So the Hell Pit room, I think, is... Right? So, and like anytime one of the players dies, I've got sound buttons that I've got that I'll push for, Right, so it just adds that little thing so when somebody dies or whatever it is, right? Or other sound effects for, scary sounds or whatever. Just to add to the sensation. So anyways, the players come through here, and so they make it to the end of this, and over right here you can see that there's an open end to the hallway, and they can go back onto solid ground again, come through here. Here there's a magical pool that if they make a certain check, then they get a luck point, which is great, which is basically gives you advantage on one roll, and they find a small amount of treasure. If they fail, then the pool becomes a mirror of opposition, and a copy of themselves jumps out and attacks them, and they have to fight it. And basically the signal here that something's going on is there's a pair of twins there that are lying dead. They look, identical to one another, and it's obviously because somebody was there and looked inside the pool, and their doppelganger jumped out, and the two of them killed each other. If you come into this side over here, there's a couple of skeletons that are chained to the wall, undead skeletons. There's also 2 more ghosts, and they need to fight them. Same thing, if they destroy them, then the ghosts will come follow them around. Same thing over here. There's a lady here who, if they rescue her, if they basically rescue the ghost, she'll follow them around. Then we get to the main event, which is basically, I'm just going to call him Vlad, Vlad the Impaler, the guy who ran the castle 100 years ago and who has since died. He's up here and he's surrounded by bats. And the players are unable to hurt him until they defeat the 3 zombies that are down here. When the first zombie dies, then a third of the bats goes away, and then a third of the shots will hit him. And then the second zombie dies, and etc. And then by the time the third zombie dies, all of his protections are gone, and they can fight him. The zombies and the big bad guy here, they just do con damage, basically. They do necromantic type con damage. So once their constitution score hits 0, then they die and they come back up as a zombie to fight the other players if they don't do it in time. In the meantime, those ghosts that they've been collecting from here, these 2 ghosts here and the lady and the wizard and stuff, those ghosts actually go, and now that they've been freed, they go and they zap into the big boss monster and help kill him. At the end of each round, one after another goes after and helps kill the boss. So that's it. That's my Halloween adventure. Hope you guys like it. Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.